Honorable Governor of Telangana, Honorable Lieutenant Governor of Puducherry, and Chancellor of Professor Jayashankar, Telangana State Agriculture University, Hyderabad, Dr. Tamilisai Sundararajan, Vice Chancellor of the University, Dr. B. Praveen Rao, members of the Board of Management and Academic Council, faculty, graduating students, staff members, representative of media, ladies and gentlemen, I thank the Chancellor and the Vice Chancellor of this university for inviting me to participate in its 5th convocation and to deliver the convocation address. The graduating students are the stars of convocation, so I would like to begin by offering all of them my warm congratulations, with a special word of congratulations to those who have received awards and medals. I would also like to extend my congratulations to the proud parents whose role in the success of their children is larger than the children usually think. This is really a day of the students who have worked hard to get their degrees. The graduating students should feel proud to get their degrees from this university, which has a very rich legacy and high reputation. The university got separated from Angrao with the creation of state of Telangana in the year 2014. During the short period of its independent existence, PJT SAU has risen to new heights and earned several academic laurels to count on the national and international map of agriculture research and education. Because of the reputation of its faculty and their contribution in the frontier area of agriculture sciences, the Vice Chancellor of this university is involved in many national level discussions relating to agriculture R&D, education and future of agriculture. We in Niti Aayog regularly interact with Dr. Praveen Rao to get his views and ideas on important agriculture policy issues and the way forward. This recognition is the result of high-class research undertaken in the university and visible role in taking improved technology developed in the university in its lab to land. I must appreciate the vision of the leader of the state to nurture and support this university to play a vital role in progress of agriculture, rural economy and overall development of state of Telangana. Convocation is a very special occasion in the academic calendar of any university. It is an occasion to celebrate and also reflect on how well the university is serving the purpose for which it has been established and how well it is meeting the expectation and aspiration from it, particularly in addressing food and nutrition security of the society, improving agriculture and well-being of farmer and agriculture labor who make agri-food production possible and drive their livelihood from it. This is not the occasion to go into all the detail of all these aspects, but I will mention some broad concern which seems worth consideration by your university in the coming years. The creation of this university and the state of Telangana coincided with two back-to-back and severe drought years. Crop output in these 2 years in Telangana dropped by 23 and 21%. Again, the year 2018-19 experienced more than 10% drop in total crop output, followed by a 57% increase in year 2019-20. If you look at this data, you find the huge volatility in output and income of the producer, which is highly detrimental for the producer as well as the sector and economy. The biggest challenge in Telangana agriculture, as I understand it, is to bring resilience and stability in crop output. This can be done in 3 ways. 1, by developing drought-resistant varieties and technology. 2, by popularizing crop pattern better adapted to vagaries of nature facing the state. And 3, alleviation of water stress through irrigation or water conservation methods. The state is located in semi-arid tract with erratic and low rainfall. The state government is making huge investments and efforts to improve irrigation coverage and availability of water. These efforts will yield desired result if they are combined with production choices and practices matching with availability of increased availability of water. While area under irrigation is rising, but at the same time, area under paddy, a highly water intense consuming crop, is also rising. This defeats much of the purpose of expanding irrigation and water availability for agriculture. The state data shows that almost doubling of area under paddy to reach 12.9 million hectare in year 2018-19 compared to any other previous peak. I'm not saying 1 year or 2 year, any other previous peak. This brought laudable achievement in production, but it has very serious implications for sustainability and stability of output in the state. The challenge before agriculture R&D is either to develop an alternative to paddy in low rainfall and water stressed ecology of the state, or come with technologies which are less water consuming in case of paddy production. During the last 10 years, 2008 to 17, 47% blocks in the state showed decline in groundwater. Adoption of water saving and improved irrigation practices and technology to increase water use efficiency is imminent in the state of Telangana. The state is making massive investment in irrigation. The potential created must be optimally used. At present, cropping intensity in irrigated area is only 158%, which means more than one crop is grown only on 58% area, and 42% of the irrigated land in the state is under vegetative crop cover only for 4 to 5 months. It remains fallow for nearly 7 months. The university needs to develop crop sequences and package of technology to raise crop intensity to above 180% to get desired results. Some pockets in Telangana have made remarkable progress through diversification and new enterprises like seed production. Fruit and vegetable in the state are cultivated on less than 5% of gross cultivated area. This needs special attention as diversification toward high value crops and sustainable intensification are the promising pathways for future of agriculture in the state. Despite several initiatives and direct intervention in nutrition, overall level of nutrition in our country remains poor and health outcomes show mixed results across states. India is shown in poor light by the international agencies in child mortality, wastage, stunting, and nutrition and health status of women, despite the fact that the country has large surplus of staple foods. In some quarters, it is mentioned as Indian enigma or paradox of hunger amidst plenty. Many experts blame this on imbalance in diet and imbalance in food production. Special emphasis is placed on increasing intake of nutracereal, pulses, and leafy vegetables. Biofortification of crop is suggested as another route to improve nutrition. Researcher at Professor Jayashankar, Telangana State Agriculture University, should address these dimensions to attract farmers to raise area under millets, vegetables, and biofortified varieties of food crops. No doubt you have done very well in the past. The challenge in future is more daunting. We are all aware of climate change, rising stress on water sources, prevalence of undernutrition and malnutrition, and food safety issues. India is producing 10% more rice than what is needed in the country. On the other hand, we are meeting more than 60% of our domestic demand for edible oil from import. We are also suffering from chronic deficiency of pulses. It is in the interest of the country to reduce these imbalances, particularly on the ground of sustainability of natural resources. This cannot happen without significant breakthrough in productivity of oilseeds and pulses and strong policy support for them. This will require shift in focus of research toward oilseed, pulses and millets. Now I turn back to the graduating students. The agriculture scene has undergone sea change in the country since I graduated from a agriculture university 44 years back. At that time, jobs were available for asking. Various departments related to agriculture, banks and input industry used to have regular intake of agriculture graduates from the campus matching with the supply. The situation of agriculture and job market has changed dramatically since then. Still, these organizations employ agriculture graduates, but bulk jobs are not available in any organization. Now the demand lies in diversified areas. Therefore, you need to plan your professional career differently. Agriculture is getting modernized and commercialized. Commerce in agriculture is growing. Present status of agro-processing and post-harvest value addition is much low, though it has shown very good growth in the last 5 years. As our economy grows, these areas will expand rapidly. Agribusiness is expanding from seed to agro-processing and agriculture marketing. This expansion will require professionals and technical know-how of agriculture. Getting jobs there require business-oriented skills, aptitude, and some special traits. If PJT SAU offers short duration course in agribusiness skills with the involvement of private sector, it will be very handy for its graduate in getting private sector jobs. Many emerging areas like IT, digital agriculture, e-commerce, value chain, precision farming require hardcore agriculture skill for their application in agriculture. The new farm laws formulated by the central government also offer tremendous opportunities for private investment, agribusiness in pre and post harvest agriculture and new employment opportunities. Some of you can even think of becoming entrepreneur in different areas of agriculture. Your knowledge of agriculture should give you an edge over others in tapping the new opportunities opened by liberalized policy environment like contract farming, supply of quality input, running of farm service centers, plant clinics, running a supply chain between group of producer and consumers, organizing attribute-based supply and demand, and providing consultancy services for agriculture. I strongly feel that agriculture graduates should take cue from engineering graduates. Only small fraction of engineering graduates get technical job in their discipline and a large number go for managerial jobs after obtaining diploma and degrees in management courses. I hope some of you will choose to become farm managers just like agriculture engineers and take advantage of new laws to become successful agri-entrepreneur and agri-business persons. It may not be wise to stick to your choices to hardcore discipline of agriculture. Do not feel shy of competing in any lucrative job, be it in civil administration, bank, PSU, etc., etc. I can say with confidence that many of you will succeed in this. The state has a lot of diversity and some pockets have shown high success through diversification toward high value crops. There is scope for further promotion of high value enterprises in small pockets in many places of the state, but they require knowledge, skills, technology and market access. Some of you can try organizing farmer in a FPO like organization to grow high value crops under your managerial and technical advice. A new concept of paid farm services for tractor, thresher, sprayers, other farm machinery and services to smallholder is now emerging like Uber and Ola. I will suggest to PJT SAU to develop strong collaboration with private sector. Experts from private sector should be involved in prioritizing research, teaching and commercialization of technology. As the public extension and public employment are shrinking, we need to explore ways and means to attract private sector to play a strong role in all aspects of agriculture. This will be best done if SAUs, in partnership with private sector, for technical backstopping and supply of technical manpower suitable for private sector employment. I feel PJT-SAU is better placed than many other agriculture universities to create a new trend of a public sector university taking private sector route for taking new technologies and practice to the farmer of the state and at the same time ensuring jobs for its graduates. Friends, whatever you do, whether in private sector, government or self-employment, this degree from this Telangana State Agriculture University will pay for lifelong dividends. In return, you are expected to contribute positively towards the reputation of this institution through your conduct. I have no doubt that you will look back on your days spent in this university with nostalgia and fond memories of your academic and non-academic activities. I wish you all happiness and a sense of fulfillment in life. Lastly, I feel that in some way I am becoming your alma mater. I thank the university for selecting me for award of Doctor of Science honoris causa, and I really feel beholden, and my gratitude to Honorable Chancellor, Vice Chancellor, Board of Management for this great honor to me. Thank you and Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir. Now, do I have the permission to present the degree of Doctor of Science to the awardee?
Yes, permitted.
Hearty congratulations, sir, for accepting our
Thank you. Thank you very much.